Hey guys, it's your girl Corporate Carolyn, trying to wrap up my work day, but I had a minute because I've been thinking about so much lately since I've started my series where I'm talking about why black women should get married, why black women should stay married. And one thing I want to say as a disclaimer, I never said you had to marry black men, but a lot of people are telling me all the bad things about black men, which I find very troubling and so disturbing. And I wish that that kind of dialogue wasn't going on within our community. And then the interesting thing is I'm talking to women, and then men are commenting and they're saying very negative things about black women. And if you ever watch some of the videos by Kevin Samuels, God rest his soul, the men are women bashing like crazy. And I have to say, sadly, a lot of what I hear is true. And then here I hear a lot of ladies, bashing black men, giving statistics and talking about all that they don't do. And it's so troubling. Some of the things that they're saying about black men are true. So we're saying a lot of the negative things that exist about us. Like some of the things that black men are saying is that, we're loud, like some of us are ratchet, we're wearing bonnets out in public, we're acting up, trying to fight in weird places, like twerking like crazy, not being as respectable as a lot of them would like us to be. We're talking about, men that won't take care of their families, that, don't work and want to live with you and don't own their own properties and maybe are not making the kind of money you'd like them to make. I mean, all of this stuff can be true about some people. I hate it when I hear like white people say all black people are blah, but yet you have black men, some of them, saying, well, all black women are. And then you have, a good number of black women that are saying, black men ain't the S word. How is this helpful? This is not productive at all. And a lot of the people are so busy talking about, like the money they could lose by getting married. I disagree in most instances, unless you're very, very wealthy. And I bet a lot of the people who are responding, talking about, how they might lose their assets or whatever, I bet they're not, multimillionaires or whatever, where they would just lose so much. The risk with my marriage, I'm not rich, but the little acorns that we have, if for some reason he wants to act a fool, we'll just split them up and we'll go on our merry way. It's not the end of the world. But the purpose of our union, for black men to know, for black women to know, the purpose of a first marriage, I probably should have qualified that. I mean, like when you get married, later in life, 50, 60 or whatever, where you're not trying to raise a family. I get it. Some of my points may not be valid for you if you're not a Christian and, don't have beliefs where, adultery and fornication and all that other stuff, are no-nos. But if those are not your parameters, I can see why you're not thinking, marriage is something for you to do. But for people, who are of child bearing and rearing age, I think that marriage is just like something that's critical for the black community, and us leaving it by the wayside over the years, like since the civil rights movement. Someone was talking about how Harlem used to look. I think I saw a video and they were showing Harlem back in the 40s, and it had all these beautiful black people that were dressed up, respectable citizens, husbands and wives together with kids that are acting like they have good sense. And they did like kind of a flash forward or fast forward and to today, and showing some areas of Harlem, where you have these young men with, their pants hanging down with their butts showing, like some of the young women, like half dressed, loud and just acting a complete and utter fool. I mean, and it was just like a night and day. And back in the 50s and 60s or even 40s, that's when things were the hardest for black people. I'm not saying that they're not hard for us now and that there aren't some ills associated with systemic racism. Not saying that at all. There are groups that don't like us and that may try to make things hard for us. But a lot of the social ills that I'm seeing, especially as I watch the news in the Washington, D.C. area, and I see all of these headlines about a city under siege, and they're driving poor Mayor Muriel Bowser crazy about, like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We have to do something. We have to do something. And I'm talking about, like, mainly talking about a lot of black crime that's happening with teenagers that are 13, 14, 15. They were talking about a case where three teenage girls, one of them being, I think, 12, they beat this elderly man to death. And so now they wanted to try them as adults, but they can't because they are so young and they're trying to figure out what to do with them. And so a lot of the carjackings that are going on, it's 14-year-olds, it's 15-year-olds. And what other cultures are wondering is, why are these kids out in the streets at this hour of the night where they're robbing people, mugging people, carjacking, and killing? And a lot of people give us the side eye when we talk about how Black Lives Matter, when we're talking about police officers. Well, to me, Black Lives Matter all the time, and we lose credibility because other cultures look at us and they say, well, if Black Lives Matter so much, if you guys are marching in the streets when a cop or white person kills a black person, why aren't you doing the same with this constant killing that's happening nightly? If you watch the news in some of the areas where the metropolitan cities are, this is a constant thing. This is a social ill that's not directly related right now to to systemic racism. And when we're looking at our leaders saying, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I think while we're doing that, because I did interview some black people who were, maybe like grandparent age or whatever, saying that, they need to do something. They need to do something. And it's true. They do need to do something, but we need to do something. We need to come together as a culture, because other ethnic groups, their marriage rates are higher. Like for Asians, usually their kids are coming from two-parent homes where the people are married. White homes, they have higher rates of marriage where two parents are usually in the home. And please, don't be difficult and argumentative and try to come up with the outliers. Examples where, well, I know somebody who's white and they're divorced, or I know somebody who's, Asian and they're divorced. Yes, of course, there are going to be some instances, but I'm talking about as a whole. Two-parent homes are more common. So for the guy who asked me, why should black men get married? It's so you can put your child in a two-parent home, not so that you'll raise a generation of baby, where there are baby mamas and there are baby daddies. I hate that term with a passion. I think it's from the pits of HE double hockey sticks. I really think that that's devastating our communities, and that the fact that two parents aren't in those homes with eyes on them and with the kids, making sure, like, now where is he? What is he doing? Who is he with? I'm busy after work. Could you drive over there and make sure he or she is where they say they are? Go get that boy. He's not at home. What's up with that? But now we have people that are spread out so far, women who are, pulling the major load, who might be having to work one or two jobs, and the kids are left to their own devices. There's no way your 14-year-old is out in a gang at night, or carjacking, robbing, doing drugs, where DC they're trying to do drug-free zones. What is that going to do? Just cause people to move to another area. What they're overlooking is the black community. We need more two-parent families. We need less baby mamas, less baby fathers, and we need less people just so focused on self and what we're doing, living our best life and not taking care of our children. It grieves me that those children don't have two sets of eyes looking at them and helping them get on the straight and narrow so that they can succeed and achieve just like other cultures and other groups. It's not that we're not just as smart, but when DC, when they're talking about some of the ills that are plaguing us, they're talking about truancy. Truancy means that there's not a parent or parents that are making sure their kids take their butts to school. Usually it's easier when the two parents, not saying that in two-parent homes that doesn't happen, but we're making things more difficult for ourselves by breaking up the black family. So yeah, why should black men get married? Because you want to build strong black families so that we can compete, so that people are not laughing at us, when our kids are out in the streets acting a fool. Some people had the nerve to talk about sending the National Guard into DC to restore order. If they did that, do you know how many young black people would be on the news being, hurt, handcuffed, pressed down in the street? That is an embarrassment. We need, if we're childbearing age, child rearing age, we need our families together. We need a strong foundation for our young black children that are growing up. We're leaving a generation of devastation because we're so focused on self. Oh, well, I don't want to get married because, and like I said, I'm not saying you have to marry a black person. And I've seen a good number of black men that are marrying women of other cultures. I don't have a problem with that. Find who you love. Your kids are still going to be considered black. They might be a little lighter, but they're still considered black. I just want you to build the strongest black family that you can so that we can compete as a culture and stop looking to the system, to the government to fix our social ills. So for people who are child bearing age, child rearing age, raise up the best families that you can raise. That's my number one reason for why you should get married. Have strong families, build strong, economies within our communities, build black wealth, be able to send our kids to college, not discouraging it, saying, well, why do you need to go to college? Like it's a waste of money. For some people it might be, but for a lot of us, it is not a waste of money. And if we would bring our resources together, focus on our children and not just ourselves and trips and fake hair and all sorts of things that black men joke that we want to spend more money on going to a Asian beauty supply store or Beyonce concerts than we do for buying houses together. I've heard that on some of the websites I've been or videos that I've been on. But anyway, we need to buy homes together. Yeah, sisters can buy homes by themselves, but you buy bigger homes and you amass more equity if you pull your resources together. Stop having two separate homes where the kids, everything's watered down. Other cultures have those two income families that have the resources that can pay for their kids to come go to school, like with the equity from homes that they bought or that they're renting or renting out, not renting themselves. But anyway, that's how we pay for education, and that's how our kids are not saddled with student loan debt that's the size of a mortgage. So we definitely need to focus on our kids and less on ourselves. And I'm sorry I'm on a soapbox, but I hear this every day about this city under siege. So that's what I think that childbearing, child rearing, black people need to do. Get married, take care of our families. Ladies with the cookies, you need to vet who becomes your child's father. It's not like a crapshoot because he's just so sexy and he looks so good and he has all of this stuff. That doesn't make him worthy to be your child's father. You are the keeper of the womb. So we need to do a better job of deciding who our children's fathers are. And you guys, just because a lady has a big booty, and a great body, does that mean that she's fit to raise your children, your seed? So we need to do a better job of that as well. And then the people who are past the child rearing and bearing ages, we need to become mentors. We need to reach back. Those kids need to know that somebody cares about them. They need places to go. They need someone who is willing to set an example, willing to talk to them. So we need to feed into our communities. We are the solution, but it seems like we're very selfish these days, and everything's so focused on what I want, what I need, my resources, my assets. It's not all about you. It's about this next generation that's coming, and that's what I want us to focus on. I would love to know your thoughts. I'm not going to argue with anybody. My opinion is my opinion, and but I'm open to hearing other people's opinions and having a healthy dialogue, because we really need to start talking about it. We can't just start rioting and start marching as soon as a white person kills one of our own. We're doing it every day, or at least these young people that don't feel loved, don't feel valued, don't have a good influence, don't have the right number of eyes on them. We need to change something in the Black community immediately, and we need to stop all of this bashing and bickering. I don't want to hear anyone saying Black men aren't S. Maybe if we help build them up, that's another purpose of marriage. You build people up. Maybe they would be S. Maybe you meet somebody and they don't have their S together, but you work together and you get if they're deserving. I'm not saying put yourself in harm's way or, get someone who's trying to use you. But when I met my husband, I was riding in his car like this because the upholstery was hanging down on my hair and he didn't have any heat, if I can remember correctly. And we had to, pool our little pennies together just to go to Myrtle Beach. But, now fast forward to 32 plus years of marriage with 2 kids who've already graduated college, one with a master's and with my college education paid for, and now we have money that we can pull together to go to Martha's Vineyard or to go to Hawaii. So you have to build with someone, and it takes 2 to make a thing go right. I mean, like one person can do a lot, but 2 people, you're really cooking with Crisco at that rate. And that's what I want for our Black community. So it's all said in love, no hate, but would love to have a discussion, not necessarily a debate, but definitely a discussion. And hopefully it'll promote dialogue within our community, because we need to do something. In other words, it's up to us. So I'd love to hear what you have to say. But for now, I got to go ahead and wrap up my work day, because Corporate Carolyn needs her money just like everybody else. But until the next time, and until you guys have something to say, have a great one. Take care. Bye-bye.